Hi everyone, and welcome to Maude's Moderate Garden. Good morning. Keith is in the garden with me too, and today I am really excited because when you get an idea, you just have to sometimes do it, even if it's December. I'm not kind of afraid for what I'm going to do because I kind of plant all year round, so I don't think that's going to be a problem at all. But in essence, I've got a couple of beds that I put in. They're kind of behind me where Keith is, and they were the first beds that I kind of put in the back area. So they've only been in the ground for probably about 2 years maybe. And there are some things that I bought that I planted really deeply. And those things are kind of needing to move around a little bit so that I'm more prepared for the mature size. I knew I was going to have to move some stuff, but also I'm not really happy in this kind of pursuit of winter interest and finding things that are kind of green all year round or have some interest all year round. I'm not 100% sure that I got the balance right. I also think that there is some difference in texture needed, you know, kind of like big leaf, small leaf, color leaf difference. And so there's a couple of things that I want to do in the kind of bed behind me. Now, the overall long border that I have along the fence, that is a long-time work in progress. And I've got most of the foundation plants in. So you can kind of see I've got some evergreen interest kind of going along. And I'm more or less happy with that placement. I think there might be something that I do in the kind of midterm, maybe next year, is where I've got the eucalyptus. I might swap that out for something that maybe can handle that situation a little bit better. So this is a trial for me to see if eucalyptus will do well in this kind of slightly winter shade area that I have. Now, if you don't know, east is this way. Well, of course you're not going to know, but east is this way and the sun sets that way. So during the winter, the sun is normally directly above. Okay. In the winter, it's further down, kind of below the fence line. So this area kind of only gets sun in the morning, and then it kind of switches. So this video is something that I've been thinking of for a couple of weeks now, and I've not been feeling very great. And this is the first day where I'm like, I'm going to go for it. So I'm going for it. I am going to be digging up quite a few plants in here, and I've got in this bed, I'll switch the camera around so that you can see what I've got, but in this bed I've got some blueberries, I've got some Mugo pines, I've got some grasses, and I want to add a couple of plants. So I am going to swap my camera around and kind of share the process with you. It's not really anything technical or anything like that. I'm just excited for it. So if you want to see what we get up to, just kind of follow along, and we'll see you later. Okay, so I have kind of, or I'm going to at some point share this whole section. It's quite a length. I've got a lot of plants here. I'm not really going to do that today. I'm just focusing on this kind of upper terrace section. Now, there's a couple of things here. When we first put this bed in, we kind of bermed up this back section, and it's looking okay. It has settled quite a lot more than I thought it would, or maybe I've just added a lot of plants here, but nevertheless there is a berm that kind of goes along the back and around the side, and of course as I add soil to this, I'm sure it'll kind of even out and get a little bit bigger. But there are a couple of things that I'm happy with, so let's start with what I'm happy with in this bed first, and then I'll tell you about the things I'm unhappy with. So I am happy with these grasses, okay? I'm happy with the Ogon grasses. I think they look great. They fill in really well. If you saw at the beginning of 2024, I extended this grass to go a little bit more this way. It's a perfect grass in that it handles sun and shade, and it likes moisture, and it's going right in clay, so that's great. One of the things that I think I want to do is create more of a terminus for this grass, and I've got it on either side. Well, I've got it on the side of this Picea papoose, which is a really nice kind of rounded. Eventually it'll probably get about 3 feet wide and tall, so it's never going to get really big. It does kind of have a rounded shape to it, but I want to kind of carry some of these grasses around. around and in, and I think that that will give a bit more of eye movement through the swoop. So that's one of the things that I'm looking at. I'm happy with the Taxus baccata that's in the back. That's going to get really tall over time and fill in and be a nice kind of pencil, evergreen pencil. And I'm happy with the Choicea Sundance. I love the vivid color. I love that this is kind of a shady situation and it's lime electric green. Love, love. That's great. Now, there is something that's going to go, I think. I've just ripped off all of the dead stuff. I've got a little bit of growth left on it. I don't know if it's going to bounce back, but this is an Acer dissectum. I believe this one's called Garnet, and it was beautiful, and I loved it, but I think something damaged the roots, or maybe I did, and it got wilt, and I'm just leaving it. I am happy with the concept of the next thing. So I'm happy with the idea of having Sweet Box, which is the Sarcococa. I've got, I think, Winter's Gem and Confusa. So this Winter's Gem and Confusa, I did have this over here where Keith was. In fact, I had it back behind the Sibilia. And I think that during the summer, it just got crowded out, and also there was a lot of slug damage on it, which is very disappointing. It does look like something slugs wouldn't like, but it's the only thing that I can account for this kind of damage. So this idea of having this Sweet Box, I like it because it should be a winter flowering plant, so winter fragrance. I also like it because it's evergreen, and as I'm limbing up some of these trees, it's nice to fill in these spaces because this is more of a shadier area. And I don't really want bald spots in the garden if I can help it throughout the year. So this lovely, beautiful tree is staying. The Pinus Mugos, so I've got one here, one here, one here. These are called Gnome. These are staying. The placement of this Phesant Tail grass, I think this one's called Lessonia. I'll pop the name up on the screen. But this grass here is staying. It'll get a little bit bigger than it is. I did have a third one planted here, and I have one in the back, but for whatever reason, I lost the one in the middle. I thought maybe it was because it was in too much shade, but the one in the back is doing fine. And I also tucked some more of this Lessonia grass back here in this bed, and for the most part that's doing fine too. So I'm wondering if I lost that plant because of my cat. But I want to duplicate this grass. I have a couple of things in here that I'm going to try to not move. I have some astilbe back here, and I also have some nepeta in these two spots. So this section is more or less staying, with the exception of maybe filling in another one of these grasses, either trying it one more time in this space or moving the astilbe behind the grass and putting the grass in between these three Mugos, which I think is probably what I'm likely to do. In front of that, I've got a Hebe or Veronica. So this one is called Blue Star. Out of all of the Hebes that I have in my garden, this is the absolute favorite for me because it is evergreen, it's blue, it handles shade well, and it's just brilliant. Now, it's also easy to propagate. I've got one that I've propagated here. So imagine one blue dome here, one blue dome in the front, and I have a third one here that is just tucked in till it gets some size on it. And this one will also be a kind of feature in this garden for a little bit of continuity. Okay, I also have amelanchier. I always pronounce that completely wrong, but it's called a Juneberry. It's spring flowering, and it fruits in June, very similar to blueberries. There's also some leucothoe in the back, which is going to stay. As I get better with cuttings, I think I will spread this through because I really like the red maroon color that's there. All of the big trees are staying, but the area that I want to focus on today is this area. So in here, I have got a few plants. I have an Osmanthus. Let me just show you. So this Osmanthus has a fine tooth to it. I'll pop the variety on the screen. Osmanthus is one of my absolute favorite plants in the garden. This one gets a little bit bigger, and I want it to let it get to a bigger size, so I want to move this one further in the bed. I have a couple of other varieties of Osmanthus. I've got some around the pond, and there's more that I want to order, so that's quite exciting. But this guy is going to be coming up and chasing moving placement. I also have a Physocarpus. This one just is bare sticks right now. It's called Magic Ball. It's got beautiful autumnal color all year round. I actually have two of these. This one gets a little bit bigger as well. It is deciduous, but it is well worth the kind of bare structure that it's giving now. Like I say, the trees, I've got a Van Tol holly that I'm trying to straighten up and grow and fill in. I want to actually shape this into a topiary over time, but I think that's going to take some time. I know they can get really tall, but I wanted something vigorous that I could do a bit of clipping, and I really love the thick, waxy, dark top of the leaf with the paler underside. I think it's got a nice texture difference. The eucalyptus that's in the back, if that's staying or not staying, I think it probably will, so long as it survives in this condition. But the leaf structure is too similar to the Osmanthus. So I really wanted something that was a wider leaf structure. And I'm going to talk about that in just a second on what I eventually settled on that's going to go in that space. There is some Persicaria that's further back. So this should be evergreen. Again, I'm not sure if Keith has damaged that because he has damaged my tree here. So I'm going to have to find a way of keeping him out of this area so that everything can kind of recover. Now this is a perennial. It's got really lovely red flowers on it, and I just want this to kind of spread wherever it wants to go. It's beautiful, and it flowers for a really long time in the year. There are 3 flamingo blueberry bushes. So there's one here, and one here, and they were absolutely fine in this space. When I originally planted them, this bed was only going to be 3 feet deep. I'm laughing because it's ridiculous, because I've essentially quadrupled the depth of this bed. These are going to be coming out. I was kind of reticent to do that, but where I'm planning on putting them is what I'm calling the half orchard. Sorry, the sun's... Look at the sun. Oh, that's so nice. Oh, it feels great. So this is what I'm calling my half orchard. So I'm going to be moving the blueberries in this bed. So I want to move the blueberries because, again, as much as I like them and they have got a beautiful autumn color, it's too many dead sticks. So that's that balance I was saying that I didn't get right for me. I also have some helichrysum that's in the back. It's not going to get any bigger than this, and I do love that kind of apple minty shade, and I just threw it back there because I bought it because I liked it, but I didn't really have a home for it. I don't know if any of you can relate. And so I'm going to kind of move that and bring that forward. I also have a Juniper. This one's called Holger. It's actually put on a lot of growth, and I'm a little disappointed to move it. Let me see if I can show you. There it is. So it's put on a lot of new growth, but it's never really gonna get massive, and it's kind of a waste to have it in the middle of the bed. Now remember, when I originally put this in, this was the kind of front of the bed, so it definitely needs to move. In the back, I have some Kerria Japonica. The variety is the double flower one, and it's in bloom, although it's lost all of its leaves. You know, I think I may have shown that in a video recently, so I'm not going to go too much detail. That'll fill in that space too. So that is everything that I'm going to change in here. One of the things that I do want to change, but they're a little bit more tender because I did have 2 of these and I've lost it, is this shrub here. This is a salvia, so this one's Salvia greggii, and the variety for this one is called Joy. It's a beautiful, a lot of people have the hot lips, which is the red and the white variety, and it's pretty, but I wanted something that was softer, a little bit more feminine, and this one is got a lovely pink color. And the slugs, God, the slugs ate all of this out of the middle, and so this is the most leggy, sad looking salvia, but I have hope for it because it's got some new growth. So I'm going to try to maybe do some cuttings for this one. I'm afraid to move this one just yet, but it definitely needs a bit of a cutback. But again, I'm also afraid to do this because of the slugs, so it's gonna do its thing for now. There are some spring flowering things towards the front, so I'm going to try to not disturb this area too much. We've got some bulbs, which I don't know if they're looking to come up yet. Somewhere in here. Oh, I think, well, I'm not sure where they are, but they're in here. Oh, see, I want to be nice to these things. I want to like them. I know they're detritivores and they serve a good, a good purpose to the garden, but just over them. OVAH. So that's everything that I want to do in this section. This section of the bed is going to kind of stay where it is until I get more of the creek and the pond in. Now the plant that I've got to replace this, I'm really excited about. I saw it at the garden center last year and liked it, and then immediately forgot about it. And our local garden center was having a 30% off winter sale, so I had to grab one. So the one that I want to talk about is this one. So this is a Photinia. Now, a lot of people have the red varieties that get massive and they turn them into kind of hedges, or they limb them up like small trees, and they're beautiful. There's one that I was looking at called Red Robin, because it's supposed to be a little bit more compact. But I thought this one was infinitely more exciting and interesting. So this one is Photinia serratifolia, meaning that the leaf is serrated. It's got this lovely deep waxy leaf color, so I'm hoping that this will mean that slugs don't like it. So I think that's going to be a good kind of plant. It's evergreen. It's evergreen, and it's got these splashes. So the new growth comes in is this lovely kind of a hot pink color, and you can see that it's starting to set up. I don't think this one flowers, but you can see that it's got this really lovely variegation. The variegation gives it a lot of kind of depth and texture. The leaves are slightly curled, and also there's like a speckling of pink rust through this plant. There's some new growth coming in at the bottom, which I'm really excited about. Now this plant was growing on the wonk, so I think I'm going to, I might leave it that way and let the shoots do their thing, or I might straighten it out. That's a hard one. But this leaf texture is going to help in the garden. Now this one should get, let me see if it says on the tag. Yeah, so this one should get a upright height of around 1.75 meters. So that is perfect. So where I'm going to put that one is somewhere here. Okay, and this is what I'm talking about, having a bit more of a more interesting leaf foliage difference. So we've got something that is wide, but not only wide, but splashes of a lighter color running through it. That's a cooler color than the lemon and the yellow and this kind of finer thuja, and it is a broader leaf than this, and it gives some definition from the other shrubs that we have in this space. Okay? So I'm going to set the camera up, and I'm just going to film me doing a bit of digging, getting this bed kind of leveled out, and I will show you. I did a bit of a quick mock-up on Photoshop of what I want this bed to look like when everything's a mature size. It's not perfect, but I'm going to show it because I think it does give you a bit of idea behind the idea of what these changes will eventually make from a difference point of view. Okay, I'm gonna set the camera up and get to work. Okay, I think I underestimated the amount of digging. Some of those were really rooted in. Rooted in. So I think I've got the final placement. I'm just going to sit with this for a few seconds and just see if I like it. I think I do. I think it more or less follows the plan, I think. I'm going to have to refer back to my plan. So the two Holgers, I had two of them. They're not going to get much bigger than this. I've actually brought them towards the front because they give a little bit of that blue color. They do well in the clay. So these are the blue junipers, because I do like that blue color. So I've brought those in the front to kind of line, not really line, but accentuate the kind of front step. And then I've pulled a couple of the lessoniana grasses that were either further back in shade or well behind something, so there wasn't really a benefit for having them there. And I'm thinking I like one here, one from the back pulled slightly more forward, and then obviously the one that was there already. So there are a few other things I want to look at. Okay, so we've got the lessoniana grass, which will go just to the front. And then behind that, I have an Osmanthus, which is evergreen. It has these kind of nice, like, rounded, serrated, kind of blue-green leaves underneath a holly, which this will be limbed up over time. So I think that'll give it enough space to kind of just really fill in. And then we have the Physocarpus Magic 8-Ball, which is going to go just in the middle. And I think by placing this in the middle here, I won't notice so much its absence in the winter, because I've got the now Photinia Pink Crispy in the back to really kind of brighten up that back section. So I still have the blue Veronica in the same place. There's one here, and I actually have a third one. This one, and I'm either going to move it to the front or I'm going to move it just back behind, just to kind of fill this in so that there's a bit more kind of movement around the front of these borders. It's interesting because I thought I would be someone that was more prone to wanting to do, like cut flowers and things, and I do like that, but a lot of the stuff that I've gravitated to is flowering shrubs or flowering trees. So that's really interesting, but I have left this space when I rework it for those elements. So the Mugo stay exactly where they are. So 1, 2, 3. This grass stays, this Lessoniana Phesant Tail grass, I think this one's called. I'm just going to tuck one just at the base of this amelanchier tree, just kind of fill in this space, and I think it's going to get a little bit more light there than it did towards the back. And then I'm going to have to put up with this bare spot back here for now, but this should be the sweet box, all three of them, if they survive. They might not. I might just have to replace them. But I want that sarcococa to really kind of fill in with that kind of nice deep evergreen. I also might even be mixing it with some of the leucothoe. No, the leucothoe, I think this one's called Burning Love. This one's a nice evergreen. It handles shade, has really lovely foliage, and this is something that I want to kind of spread throughout because I do like that red color, and I think it does pick up in some of the variegations that we have. And then back here, tucked behind this Mugo pine, is a baby autumn moon acer. Yes, this is kind of growing over, but long term this will be kind of pruned back a little bit to allow enough space for this to kind of fill in this space. And then the eucalyptus is just going to get a little bit taller and be nice and airy. So I imagine it's quite bare, so I'm going to have to find something evergreen to kind of dot underneath it, because I'm trying to think in layers. I might even swap this out for another variety of Osmanthus fragrance, just because I think it would give more of a nicer screen top to bottom. So the area that I have now, so I've taken some of this kind of ogon grass here, this kind of really lovely chartreuse grass. I've dotted some through, and I've picked up a few pieces. I don't need very much to complete this or to make it feel like there's a bit of a swoop. It's really easy to propagate as well. You just tear it apart, and you can pretty much do that all year round. But I've got 3 of those to just kind of, if I can step back, just carry your eye around and soften this edge. Okay, I have severely underestimated how heavy and hard all of this digging was. My stomach's shaking. Right, I think this video is going to be done in 3 parts. So I'm going to finish here, and then I will film another day of putting the blueberries and show you what that looks like, and then also the pathway, because it's just too much all in one go. Right, if we go this way, we've got one of those grasses here, here, and here, and this feels a lot more spread out now. I feel like this bed now has a lot more space to kind of fill in, so I'm really excited with how everything's ended up for now. I still have some spaces to fill in, so underneath this section, decide what I'm doing with this little guy, but for the most part, I think all of the foundation things that are going in this bed are in its final time lined up. So I'll show you what that looks like. And actually, let me go this way. So, how fun is this? So imagine you're in a greenhouse, all glass, and you're looking out, and you see this really kind of nice woodland conifer garden. You can see where the blue is really pulling your eye through. I feel much better with this. You can see the green for the Mugos. And I like that I can see the Photinia, even though it's quite small. I like that I can see that from here. So yes, this plant spacing feels a lot more well-intentioned. That's the great thing about plants. If you're not happy with something, or you always start your bed's a lot smaller than you think you're going to, you can just move it. And I'm in December in a t-shirt and a jumper. So the last thing I'm going to do in this is to take and fix, actually I think part 2 video will be me fixing the grasses and this pathway, which will be the following week, so you can have a look and see what that looks like. But I think this is really going to help kind of fill in. And again, I'll show you what if I stand back, what this entire section should look like when it's fully mature. Okay, everyone, thanks for watching. I think this is enough for today's video. Did you see? When I was gardening, I found the chocolate. What? I looked at the date to make sure it wasn't edible, because I wouldn't put it past me. The date was, it expires before the 2012. So, I'd like to just say that, there was chocolate in my garden. Not mine. Wouldn't have made it to the ground. But yeah, how fun is that? Anyways, so this is everything today. So I'm really excited about this bed. I think it's going to look really good when it fills in. And spring is so on its way. Well, I mean, late winter, but whatever. It's coming. So anyway, so thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.